Opposition leader Pierre Poilievre announced his plan to help spur new construction houses for Canadians, for average Canadians. So what he said was, all right, we got to get rid of the GST on new construction. All new construction of homes, million and under, because reasonably, he says to himself, well, if you can afford a house over $1 million, maybe you can pay a little extra. And maybe if I cap it at $1 million, maybe we'll get more houses built under $1 million. More anything, but encouraging construction for people, listen to this, for people to buy. There's already a program to drastically eliminate GST on purpose-built rentals. So the rentals, the multifamily rentals, they're already looked after. And the leader of the opposition reasonably surmises that we better start to help the people who want to buy a house, for the love of God. Okay, let's help them. I mean, the rentals are good. He's not fighting on the rentals. The rental thing continues. But the point is, we got to help people we have to help people to get into houses, and that means building more lower cost homes to buy, not social housing, which is great. Love social housing. Multifamily rentals, great. That's great. But we have neglected building homes for people to buy certainly in Ontario. It's crashing here in Ontario. New home construction is just crashed. BC's looking bad, but Ontario is just devastated. So, is this a good thing? Absolutely right, it's a good thing. It is a great thing, okay? It is a great idea. Besides, I'm sort of in favor of everything that reduces tax in general, like less tax, better. Canadians are taxed to death. We're the taxedest people in the fucking world, okay? It's bizarre how much we're taxed here. It's off the charts. So, yes, let's bring it down. Let's start building homes again because, folks, God, I sound like Doug Ford when I say folks. I got to just edit folks out of my vocabulary. But listen, one of the things that leads to really batshit crazy house prices, which we have in Ontario, still, even though prices are coming down, prices are coming off, Ontario and BC, but still, they're batshit crazy. One of the big influencers is that if you build a new house, low-rise, even if you build a new condo today, high-rise condo, 30% of the price that people pay for the condo is going to government. It's going to GST. It's going to development fees. Ah, my God, development fees. We're just being beaten to a pulp on development fees and levies and strange things. Oh, and it takes 3 years of planning and permitting before you could even start to dig the hole to build anything, because that's how bad it is. 22 studies, maybe 24 studies. And the red tape is so crazy, so fucked up. That all costs money. If you know it's going to take you you got to buy a property and then start this incredible lengthy report creation, planning, permitting process. You need money to do that. That costs big money to go 3 years without even be able to put a backhoe in the ground, okay? Think about it. Makes sense, right? You make something incredibly complex, that's incredibly expensive. So, 30%. You know what it was 24 years ago? 5%. Yeah, roll that around in your mind for a minute. 22 years ago, when you bought a new construction property, it doesn't matter low-rise, high-rise, about 5% of it went to the government. Today, 30% goes to various things, levies, taxes, development fees, on and on and on, okay? So, what more could Pierre do? What more can the leader of the opposition do? Well, I think at some point in time, he's got to use the power of the federal purse, because the feds bring in the most money. The feds are the biggest taxes. They got the most tax money coming in. And they distribute it out to provinces and sometimes cities and towns through a whole millions of different programs. Maybe it's time to say, hey, if you don't cut this development charges, if you don't take the taxes on a brand new home down from 30% down to 10%, maybe I'm going to quit sending the money. maybe you don't. I mean, maybe I'm going to quit sending all these billions to the provinces, the towns, the cities, because you got to do this thing. You got to drop these incredible costs. Because here's the truth. In 2025, construction of new homes, new dwellings of all, well, because even the rental stuff has slowed down. Construction of new homes to buy in 2025 is going to drop to the point it's going to be an utter disaster. When CMHC tells you this year in 2024, there's going to be 225 new homes built, a whole bunch of those new homes built are not for sale. They are purpose-built rentals, they're apartment buildings, and they're social housing. I'm not against either one of those things. But in a country that's so in trouble on housing, and in two provinces, Ontario and British Columbia, that have grown so much, such an incredible number of people have come here in the last 3 years. We're going to build so many fewer, ridiculously less houses to buy in these two provinces. And when the government's promising 4 million homes, 3.5 million, 4 million homes, which is a total fantasy. Like every time any of the ministers say it, somebody should just put one of those stencils over where they're talking, put a stencil over their mouth. Lies, lies, lies. We're not building 4 million new homes. Not happening, not even close. But worse in 2025. So yes to everything that cuts back costs, government fees, taxes, levies, development charges, and GST. Everything that cuts that back to allow us to get some new homes built at reasonable prices. Let's do it.